Hello, my name is Eric Cabral, and this is my research proposal, EL students asking questions. So, first off, what is this proposal? The purpose of it is to determine if EL students asking questions instead of a teacher lecturing them will increase their language acquisition and comfort level in the classroom. In order to answer this question, the research is going to be done in a classroom with a willing teacher. The school site is going to be Kennedy High School in Richmond, California, and will focus on 3 sheltered classes. Now, the reason that it's going to be at Kennedy High School is because I have a job in this classroom teaching 3 sheltered classes. The sheltered classes consist of students that are in the emerging end of the EL spectrum. So most of them do not understand English or understand very little English. So continuing on, here are my research questions that I will be looking at. What effect does students asking questions to guide learning instead of teachers presenting information have on EL student development in terms of language acquisition? So I am looking specifically at how fast are they gaining language? Is their language acquisition skills increasing? Is their mastery over the language increasing? Or maybe is it going down? Is there no effect on it? Has nothing changed? If I see that they had more complex sentences initially, is that going to go up or is that going to go down? When required to ask at least one question in class, do EL students become more comfortable in the classroom over time? So I'm going to be tracking their comfort levels in the classroom by asking them, to answer a survey on how much they trust the teacher and their classroom, the classmates, how comfortable they feel in their classroom, and whether or not this procedure will increase or decrease their comfort level. And if it does increase their comfort level, does it make language acquisition easier? So is it going to be easier for them to acquire language because they're more comfortable in the classroom? So in this study, our limitations are that we're not going to be able to control the quality of the questions posed by the students. They all have to come up with their own questions on their own time as homework. So we're not going to be able to help them with that or get them to ask more complex questions if they don't want to. In addition, we can't control if they're getting extra help at home. This could also skew the results of the study because if some students have parents that are home helping them with these questions, that might be affecting, if their language acquisition is increasing or not. Whereas other students who don't have help won't have that extra scaffold to help them. So, what is the other research that has been done in this? It's not very far-ranging. No research that I've found in the course of this has the same research questions that I am posing. Those that are similar have only looked at students asking research questions or teachers asking student questions. Far more research has been done on teachers asking student questions. That was the majority of what I found. I've also found a lot of research on just student-to-student interaction as well. And that partially formed a basis of it as, I'm using the social interactionist model no matter what. So that's still formed a backbone for how I'm looking at this, especially with the comfort levels. And that's what I'm looking at too. So there are 2 studies that I have found to be closest to what I was looking at. One of them was on teachers working with EL students, and I looked how teacher attitudes affect EL students in the classroom. They found that teacher attitude had a positive effect on students, but this may have been due to teachers being prepared to help these students. So these teachers have been trained to work with EL students. So it was possible that that was more of the effect than the attitude itself, but also having that extra training could be making these teachers have a more positive outlook on EL students. So it's important that whatever teacher is here and is put in is going to have a positive attitude, so that the students can increase their language acquisition. Another study looked at EL students asking research questions, and the difference between cultures. So this was the closest that I found to what I'm specifically looking at. They found that one culture, they were comparing Arab and Jewish cultures, and they found that the Jewish culture was more likely to not ask for help from the teacher, as they were found to be, it's a more westernized culture, so it was more independent, whereas Arab students would more likely ask for help from the teacher. And this was the closest that I could find to the questions that I was looking for. And it helps to understand that some cultures are going to be, in this classroom at least, are going to be more likely to want to ask questions than other cultures. So what is the methodology I'm going to be using? This is a quasi-experimental research study, as I am specifically choosing who I'm going to be using, right? At the beginning of the study, what I'm going to do is have the students take 2 surveys to get their base level. So I have 2 different surveys. One is based on ecology, and it will ask them basic ecology questions. There will be all open-ended questions so that I can gauge their sentence complexity levels. And this will be the measure I will use for language acquisition. So I'll have them take that first, and then another survey is the comfort level survey, which is they will be answering on a 1 to 5 scale. And it's asking basic questions on a 1 to 5 scale. How much do you trust your instructor? How much do you trust your other students? Things like that. So I will do that initially. Then the procedure will begin. I will have them read as homework and then formulate questions from that reading for the next class to ask. All students in the next class will ask their questions, and the teacher will then answer them instead of preparing a lecture. So normally in high schools, teachers will create a lecture in order for them to disseminate information to students. Instead of that, this teacher will be taking their questions and answering them, and essentially forming a lecture based on what the students are asking. So looking at my timeline, after finishing the unit, I will retake the measure to see if their language acquisition and comfort has increased. Okay. Then I'm going to track this on 3 different tables. The first one will just be strictly language acquisition. The second one will be strictly comfort levels. And then the third one will be tracking both of these to see if students are increasing in both, in just language acquisition, just comfort level, or both, or if they have no change. So that I can physically see which students have increased in these measures. I will track, so this is on the tables. I will repeat the study for the rest of the semester and then retake the measures at the end of the semester as well. So by the end of the semester, they will have gone through many other different subjects and content areas. By the end of this semester, I will hopefully see that their language acquisition has increased even more. So when they're answering these questions, it will be more complex sentences, and they will be even more comfortable inside of the classroom. And again, my language acquisition is going to be based on sentence complexity among these students and surveys. I will be collecting the data from the students directly. And yes, so that is my proposal. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. Please have a good day.